and I have got an Australian world exclusive. An Australian world exclusive.
Can anyone see what this is?
They probably can't. It could be the first, last, and only. No, everybody who races RC cars, particularly on-road ones, their live feed, their news feed on Facebook has probably been flooded with this very car. Yep.
What if we show a bit from the top camera?
A bit.
Because I think they'll be a bit easier to see than from the front camera.
Yeah.
Yeah? All right, let's swap it over and see.
Yep. That could have been car of the week. They could have guessed it.
They could have.
You like it?
I like it. I had a good look at it yesterday.
I'm sort of in awe of it.
Mm.
I'll be honest. It's bloody brilliant. It's a very clever. It is hard to get in focus, though. I will not lie.
Oh, what do you want to do? You want to get?
I'm just having a look at it.
That's the biggest different bit, yeah.
This is the RC Maker SP1, 1/10 scale touring car.
Let's brighten that up a bit.
Yeah, they're fiddling around with buttons again.
How's that?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm really good.
The RC Maker SP1 touring car, and it's not a product that we sell here at Hearns Hobbies. However, we do have a very long-standing, like most Victorians, relationship with Ryan Maker, the founder of the company and the very designer behind this vehicle. So this is an all-Australian design.
That's right, and that's something to be really proud about.
Something to be really proud of. It doesn't matter whether you race Yokomo and beat it. I mean, probably will, of course. X-Ray or whatever. You've got to admire get a little bit patriotic, I suppose, and respect the guy. There's a lot of work gone into this.
Well, something like this is actually a ground shaker. Now, there's probably a lot of people watching that aren't familiar with all the different cars, but we'll point them out later.
Yeah.
And show how innovative the thinking is behind this particular design.
Yeah, a lot of it. And I don't know a lot. I didn't actually build this one. This one here belongs to Tony P, who's watching.
Yeah.
He just finished it off, and we actually pre-recorded a segment yesterday in the studio, and I said, would you mind doing it? So we're just going to have a quick overview now and have a look at some of the things. It's such a cool car. So first of all, something that's not been done very often, if at all, is the color of the anodizing and the alloys and the metalwork is a bronze or rose gold or whatever, which is really cool. So it's not, the typical blues or reds or purples or whatever. So gone for a nice classy finish there. Does have the gloss carbon fiber sheeting, these cars are pretty much everything carbon fiber and machined alloy. Some of the only molded plastic parts you will find on the SP1, and any modern touring car will be the upper A arms at the moment. So
these are identical front and back, right? Are they?
Yeah.
I can't tell from the look of it. From the look of it, they are.
They are in a Yokomo. But yeah, so that is the current trend for these cars. So that's very what I call conventional, the top molded A arm. This allows you to have really symmetrical steering or, in fact, rear wheel hubs, which makes production not only easy, but spare parts as well.
Talking about the arms are carbon.
The arms are carbon, yep, something that's been around for probably, 8 years now, something, since the MI5, was it? The Shoemaker, one of the first ones?
Were they the first?
Well,
I thought Automatics was.
No, sorry, yeah, Automatics. Yeah, probably Automatics was, with carbon fiber arm. Got beautiful sway bar. There's a lot of really clever points behind the car. And we were actually going to have the maker of the car. That sounds funny, doesn't it?
The maker of the car, Mr. Maker.
Yeah, Mr. Maker. Ryan Maker himself zoom into the studio for this one and give us a bit more context. But poor Ryan's actually sick and under the weather, so he couldn't join us today. But Tony P does have a SP1F, which is a front-wheel drive variant of this car. So a 1/10 scale on-road front-wheel drive chassis. So when that one's ready, we'll steal that one off Tony P and we'll get Ryan in the studio then. And he'll tell us lots of cool parts. So some things that I really appreciate on this car, and obviously the biggest design feature away from the conventional at the moment is that bell crank rear shock.
Let's see if I can get that a bit sharper so we can.
If anybody can, you can.
Well, I reckon I might be at the limits.
Yeah, that's it. You're at the limit. That's what I was finding yesterday. You have to lower the car and.
All right.
Yep. Yeah. So it does have bell cranks. So it has horizontal rear shocks.
So you got the bell cranks right there.
Yep.
And so the philosophy behind here, or I guess the
design principle.
That's right. The goal was to get the lowest center of gravity
as possible.
So you can see the top. There's no shock towers.
No,
up
there's no shock towers.
There's no oil-filled damper cylinder high up.
No.
You got the damper all laid down here.
Yep.
Operated through this push rod here.
Yep. The tallest part is your roll centers of the car. So it's going to give it a really good change of direction, if nothing else. And obviously with Ryan's design engineer background, I mean, he would have, optimized the bell crank and the suspension geometry 100%. And this car, it's not like Ryan has been testing and running this and other drivers as well on an international level. And
they've been working on this for a couple of years, right?
Yeah, it's been no slouch. So yeah, it's really, really good. It really got some really good design features. So horizontal shocks front and back.
So that's the biggest thing that you'll notice.
Yeah, and it can't, like people say, oh, like the shocks will get in the way. I mean, it's not the lowest part of the chassis, and B, as the suspension comes up, so does the shock.
That's right.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't snag on anything, right?
So it shouldn't really snag on anything.
I mean, it's got the modern style low-mounted sway bars.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're even lower than the shock.
Yeah, and that's been around for a while. I mean, the BD11, I think, had those. So 2021.
That's right.
And they haven't proven to be, like, usually if you're going to bend that, you've done something else.
Yes.
You've gone right over a curb. You've been driving somewhere you should have been shunted, or you've had the thing airborne.
Yes.
The spur gear retainer is really nice.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, you don't have the top decks in the way. I'm going to get to the top decks in a minute. So you have the spur gear carrier and the center drive shaft. Obviously, it's what we call a mid-mount motor, so mid spur gear, equal length belts front and rear, 351.
I think the other thing that's noticeable from here is how low the mounting of the top deck is.
The top deck, that's right. The top deck
usually
is
you find these a lot higher, right?
Yeah, they're high up on the motor mount and the bulkheads, but they're actually mounted relatively like halfway on the chassis.
Well, the higher it is, the stiffer it's going to be front to back.
Yeah, but you can tune it out in different ways. So it was really good from working on the car for a point. So it's out of the way of the belts, first and foremost. And it hasn't required extra bracketry for the steering posts and servo. And the motor mounts are really low these days too. They're pretty much, because they just use the bottom two screws.
Yes.
They've gone away from the 180 or the 90 degree screw pattern on the motor. So use the bottom two screws on the motor, and you've got full range of adjustment there. This car is currently set up for modified. Tony P's going to run it in mod. So it's got 110 tooth spur gear, probably 27, 28, 29 pinion gear. Yeah, but really nice, really easy to change a spur gear. You don't have to take off any top decks or belts or get anything out of the way. 4 screws there onto the aluminium holder. Like you said, you can see where the top dents, if you go near the bulkhead end, that'll give you, or either way, let's go up here. Where's my pointer? Where's my...
Have you got a pointer?
I have got a pointer, German shorthead. No, I haven't. But I was just going to show where so you can see here the top deck as it runs along here, and that's where, see how low it is on the bulkhead?
Yes.
So usually they're mounted on the bulkhead here where the top arm mount would be.
Yes.
So it's sort of halfway on the bulkhead, which is really good. And the steering bell crank and stuff is nice, pretty much slop free and really, really smooth. Really well engineered. So the other plastic molded parts on this car are also the ball cups. So the ball cups are unique to the RC Maker SP1.
We're talking about unique ball cups. That's something we don't normally see. It's an angled ball cup.
So there's about 3 or 4 different ball cups on this. You can see it here really predominantly on the servo horn, that sort of 45-degree angle.
Yes.
And that is to keep the correct geometry as been optimized on the CAD or whatever.
Yeah.
And also clear the top decks.
That's right, because the top decks are low.
Yeah.
And the other place that's noticeable is on the arm mount for the shock right there.
Yeah,
right?
for the shock. That's right, the push rod for the shock. For the push rod for the bell crank. So there's another one there, a different angle again. And yeah, it's all obviously fully adjustable, lots of flex things, lots of things that I don't understand anymore.
Mm.
But really cool thing. It's got the double Kardashian drive shafts, industry standards.
What do you call it?
Double Kardashian.
Is it?
That's what Tony Gray taught me. So
Oh, right.
and it stuck. No, double card drive shafts.
Right.
The industry standard. Does have ball raced. If you go to the inner here on the spool, they're ball raced. Can you get to the spool? Oh,
Bendy. Oh, yeah, you can see the balls there.
Can you see the balls?
See the little tiny ball bearings on the drive shaft?
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm getting the pointer right in the way there, but right in there. So
Yes.
tiny little E-clips and ball bearings into the outdrive.
Yes. The carbon.
You know, that's been around.
Here with the spring machining.
Yeah.
The flex.
Yeah, the flex. That's something that Ryan's been incorporating in a lot of his, you know, because he does a lot of top decks and tuning accessories for even the Yokomo.
Yes.
It does come with Bando belts.
Bando belts, which are known as the best.
Nice. Yep, known as the best in the business. Yeah, so it's not skimp. This is a pure race machine, the SP1. So it's made for the highest level of competition in the world. As a result, the instruction manual, I mean, Ryan's obviously taken a leaf out of the HR1 book, so to speak. The instruction manual gets a QR code inside the box. So you load that up on your phone or your device or whatnot, and you've got a full live instruction manual that can be updated and amended as you go along. There is no, I suppose more from an environmental standpoint than anything, there are no shock fluids or diff fluids in this car. So it comes, obviously he recommends and gives you setup for it, but as racers, we all prefer our brand anyway. So whether
probably already have some, right? If you're buying a car with
well,
this
that's
caliber.
right. So if you've got if he recommends 350, you're going to put your 350. You're not going to use the kit 350 that's not labeled because, or 35 weight or whatever. You know what I mean?
Even if you like it, you'll probably never replicate it, right?
That's right. So, and you want to be able to tune it from then on. So that's why kit oils are not, and that's a really good touch. It's good thinking. Yeah, this one here, it's got the Orca RTS, the classic old motor. I had one of these, super smooth, these motors now. That was before the Blitzstream range. Got a Hobby Wing G2S Elite, looks like, speed controller in there that he's put some Savox servo. It is plastic case, but it had really good numbers. I think it was like 20 degree, 14 kilos of torque and a transit time of 008.
Yep, that's low profile as well. Paired
to the Futaba receiver 404 SBSE, so the antennaless one for the 10PX radio system. But yeah, some really cool features. Alloy diff housing.
Yes. In
the center here. So hard anodized. Aluminium diff housings is something that's, you know, quite a good feature, I think, on cars, because it also not only requires, you know, like really good machining and stuff in your gears, but it also does heat dissipation for your oil as well. So, because diffs do actually get quite warm, especially in the higher classes.
Then the RTS is all standard as well, isn't it?
Yeah, the rear toe control system. I'm not sure exactly what Ryan calls it, but yeah, the rear toe control system will be fully adjustable for toe gain or toe less or neutral. So you adjust it. I believe all 4 steering hubs are the same. So 4 hubs, rear drive shafts. Obviously, they're universal style, but they're pretty much like the Axon car. See, it's all been machined away.
Yes.
So it's really just the uni half there sticking through. Alloy sway bar mounts, carbon fiber servo mount, and pretty much everything else is alloy on it. So yeah, really good looking car. I'm really proud. I'm super proud of Ryan and RC Maker. Like I said, I wish her all the luck against the MS1 and the mighty Yokomos. It's going to need it. But yeah, no, really, you know, really good. Like I said, it's not something that we sell here at Hearns Hobbies, but really glad to get behind it and show our appreciation of a fine project by RC Maker, bringing Australia's very own touring car to the world stage.
It's very nice. It just says the SP1, which is engraved in there.
And
then the RC Maker, which is on the rear bumper there.
Yeah, definitely not for the beginner builder, or you've really got to be quite the craftsman. Like any of the top level touring cars, whether it's a Yokomo, to get X-ray, whatnot, you've really, to get the best out of them, you really have to be quite the craftsman when it comes to building and setting up and dialing them in.
Well, they add so much adjustment to them now, so they can be adjusted to any surface worldwide, right?
That's right. That's exactly right.
And to do that, you need to sort of understand what's going on.
With so many adjustments, comes so many places for error or sloppy building.
Yes.
So really cool. That's all I'd like to say about that.
That's the SP1.
SP1.
By RC Maker.
Thank you very much, Ryan and Tony P, for lending us his car.
That's right.